welcome back. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty and talk about what I think is going to go on in Season 5 and what I have no idea is going to happen in Season 5.
Why do you have no idea? I thought you knew everything about Game of Thrones.
Well, as some of you may be aware of, the show has caught up with the books in a lot of people's storylines, and so now they're going to have to divert and do all new things that no one's ever seen before. There's a couple people's storylines that still haven't finished up in the books, but there's definitely a few that have, and it'll be really interesting to see what they do next season, and I'm going to be just like you guys. I'm not going to know what's going to happen either, so should be interesting. I'm a little excited. I'm a little nervous about it. It could be great. Could be terrible. We'll just have to find out.
Why would it be terrible?
The thing is that I'm sure the writers in the Game of Thrones writers' room are fucking super talented and super awesome dudes, right? But George R.R. Martin is kind of like genius, crazy genius level, okay? And it's really hard to compete with that, okay? And he spent a lifetime learning all this stuff so he could write these books that are just really realistic, and it's just really hard to compete with that. And so they're going to have to just start coming up with stuff. And I know that George R.R. Martin has talked to them about his plans for the books, but at the same time, it's also really scary because as a book reader, I don't want things from the books ruined for me in the show. So what I'm hoping happens, I don't know. I'm so torn about it because I want them to do what George R.R. Martin was going to do because that's obviously going to be the coolest fucking thing ever because he's an amazing writer. But at the same time, I don't want them to ruin it for me in the book, so I hope they kind of go their own way. But then if they go their own way, it's not going to be as good as what George R.R. Martin would have done because, again, he's a fucking genius. So, and it's his fucking deal. And I have to say, I really enjoyed seasons 1 and 2 of Game of Thrones kind of the most, and even season 3 because they really did the books. They really stuck with the books. And, you kind of have to give George R.R. Martin 80% of the credit for how good the show is because they're just working off of what he's done. So, moving forward into this unknown territory makes me a little nervous. I'm one of those people. I hope for the best. I expect the worst. We'll see what happens. Part of the reason I don't want to do a rewind is if it does suck, I don't want everyone to come hating at me because I don't like what the writers are doing and it's just going to bum everybody out. And it's just going to be a big thing. So, it could go either way this season. But before we get started, this episode is brought to you by Audible.com. Recently, I listened to Frank Herbert's Heretics of Dune. I actually read it in book version first, and then I just downloaded it so I can listen to it again because it's just so good. I'm freaking out about it. This thing is I'm convinced that we have made a huge tactical error as the human race by not putting Frank Herbert in charge of everything because this guy is a fucking genius. I am kind of in love with his brain. I'm a very cerebral girl, and the more I read of his stuff, I'm just fuck, he is so smart. This book has just killed it for me. I loved God Emperor, and I didn't know, how can you top God Emperor? Well, he fucking did in Heretics of Dune. And I know I talk about Dune a lot, but it's just because it's just one of the best things ever. There's just so much wisdom in it. There's just so much really smart thinking. He's such a humanist. He takes humans to their highest levels and see what we would do thousands of years in the future. I mean, oh my God, in this fucking book, you have Miles Tegg. How does he keep pulling these characters out of his ass that are just fucking amazing? This guy's 300 years old. He's a fucking mentat. He looks just like Leto, fucking Paul's father. And he is just fucking so badass, I can't even stand it. This book has so many cinematic fucking awesome scenes in it that just are just so cool. I'm just dying. So yeah, check out audible.com. If you're a new member, you can go to audible.com/comic. Well, if you're a new member, you can go to If you're a new member, you can go to audible.com/comicbookgirl to sign up and get one free book. You can start on Dune. I would highly recommend it. Just start on Heretics, whatever. Just start anywhere. It doesn't matter. Just start listening to books. They have 150,000 titles for you to choose from if Dune isn't your fucking thing. I totally understand it. You download the app on your phone. It's easy to listen to. Sometimes when I'm taking a nap, I'll just put the book on and just listen to it while I'm trying to take a nap. So for all you homies out there who are into book reading, definitely check out Frank Herbert's Heretics of Dune on audible.com. So now we're we're going to do my feelings and expectations on the characters in season 5. So Cersei in particular has a really interesting storyline coming up. I know where her stuff is going. I'm really excited to see it unfold. It'll be really interesting to see Cersei in power. Well, with her father gone and Tommen on the throne, you know, she's kind of queen regent. Tom and Marjorie have not gotten married yet in the show. So until they do, she's still in power. And, you know, obviously she should not be in power. Cersei's always been bragging about how she should have been a man and that she needs to be king and that she knows how to rule everybody and use power and all this stuff. So she finally has her chance this season. So we'll get to see what she does with it. Marjorie and Tommen, let's see if they get married. You know, Marjorie also has some things going on with Cersei. She's got to deal with Cersei having a bunch of power, which is obviously not good for her. So that'll be fun watching those two cats fighting each other. I'm really excited to see Myrcella in Dorne. Now, the Dornish storyline is going to be way different. We've never been to Dorne. That's where Oberyn Martell is from, and I'm really excited about going to Dorne. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see Sunspear. A lot of the Sand Snakes have been cast. The Sand Snakes are Oberyn's bastard daughters, and they're all super dangerous and shit, just like he is. So it'll be a lot of fun to see that. Although some key characters have not been cast in Dorne, so, you know, we'll see how that goes. So I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen in Dorne, but I know we're going to be there, and I'm excited to see Myrcella in Dorne.
Okay, who else?
Sam and Gilly. I very much look forward to Sam and Gilly's story. They have a lot of adventure ahead of them. I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say that, you know, look forward to it. But
okay,
just
who
look
else?
forward to it. One thing that I think might happen that doesn't necessarily, it kind of happens in the books, but not really, but I think that they'll probably push this in the show, is Jorah, Mormont, and Arya bumping into each other in Braavos. I feel like that could happen. But it doesn't happen in the books, really. I mean, it's not like a thing. So that's just a prediction.
Oh, but who knows?
But who knows? As I said earlier, I really feel like Varys and Tyrion are going to try to head to Meereen to hook up with Daenerys. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Brienne of Tarth, I have no fucking clue what's going to happen with her. It'll be really interesting to see what they do. Because her storyline is kind of over with mostly. I really don't know what's going to happen with Brienne. It could be anything. Something that I'm a little concerned about next season is I was looking at who's been cast and who has not been cast. And Euron the Crow's Eye has not been cast. And for those of you who have not read the books, Euron the Crow's Eye, Euron is the brother of Balon Greyjoy. Balon exiled him for being a crazy asshole. So he's just been sailing around the world having these like really fucked up adventures and like getting all these fucked up treasures, and like he has like an eye patch and someone says that like underneath the eye patch is just some evil black eye, you know, but you never know for sure. There's this big king's moot on the Iron Islands because Balon's dead, Theon isn't around. You have Yara who has a claim but she's a girl, and then you have the two uncles who have a claim because they're uncles. So it's like they have this big deal where they all try to figure out who's the new king. And you know, I don't want to spoil anything. I'm not going to say anything else. But it's just, he's a pivotal character. I was excited about seeing him. I don't think I'm going to see him this season. So I'm a little sad about it.
Okay, what other people are doing stuff?
I already mentioned also that Bran is not going to be in this upcoming season, or Hodor, or any of those guys. So, you know, there's that. We'll see what happens in season 6 with them, I guess.
Okay, what other people that are there?
The last thing I'll leave you with.
What about Stannis?
Well, I mean, I know. I kind of know what's going to happen with Stannis, so I don't want to make you predictions because I kind of know what's going to happen. But, you know Stannis. I mean, he's just, like, really bitchy. And so he's going to be up at the wall where people are already fucking cold and bitchy. So there's just going to be a lot of weird, bitchy...
Cold Stannis, yes!
Politics. And Stannis. And Jon Snow. Jon Snow is going to have to deal with a lot of Stannis shenanigans. And Melisandre shenanigans.
All right, is that it?
So, yeah, that about sums it up. You know, those are my predictions, feelings, thoughts,
On
expectations.
1 through 10 level, how excited are you?
You know, I'm gonna keep it at a 5, right in the middle.
Only a 5?
I'm on the fence, you know, because I love this shit so much, and I'm really terrified that like since they're going away from the books, that it could just crumble really fast. And like I said, I hope for the best, I expect the worst. So I'm going to just stay at 5 right now.
You sound like a negative Nancy.
I just don't want to get my expectations really high and then have them crushed. It's just like, imagine the pressure that these writers are under. It's like, why don't you write something just as good as George R.R. Martin would write at something? It's like, that's That's really tough.
I bet I could do it.
Yeah, I'm sure Game of Thrones is gonna give you a call any day now, Robot, for your fucking ideas.
Maybe. I've got good ideas.
They should probably call me, actually. I might be able to help. I'm not as good as George R. R. Martin, but I feel like I have a good grasp of the characters and what they would and wouldn't do. But I don't think they'd be calling my ass either, so... So yeah, I guess we will just have to see what happens in Game of Thrones Season 5. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts, feelings, and predictions are, but try not to spoil anything. If I see any spoilers in these comments, I'm gonna turn them off like that. So the first one I see, it's off, and then you guys can just fight amongst yourselves about it. I don't know. I don't care. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. I also want to invite you to subscribe to my channel. It's free. You'll see when I have a new friggin' video coming up. It's awesome. And also, I suggest checking out our Epic History X-Men Volume 1. If you enjoyed our Epic Histories for Game of Thrones, you may enjoy this. It's the same format, except even better. We've perfected it. And instead of talking about Game of Thrones, we're talking about the X-Men. And there's a lot to talk about with the X-Men, trust me. So check it out on Vimeo On Demand, on sale now. Also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for all your Comic Book Girl 19 updates. That's where we post our videos. We also post things like if we're gonna be somewhere or whatever. It's all sorts of news and updates on there.